So many papers, up for review this morning. But first, let's have a review through the newspapers. If you look at the Nation newspaper, we have the Nigeria-US Joint Working Group to hold security talks. NSA, Ribadu leads federal government's team, coordinated abductions of 42 in Niger, FCT suburb. Next is the Blueprint newspaper. Insecurity, Tinubu approves membership of US-Nigeria Joint Working Group. Bandits invade Niger, abduct 24, amputate blind man's hand. Police recover 210 rounds of ammunition in Zaria Funtua Road. Withdraw 11,566 personnel from VIPs. Next is the Leadership Friday. Lawyers, security experts back Tinubu's emergency declaration. There must be more clarity, that's according to experts. Action necessary to curb further spread. Lawyers. Next is we can't help. Security emergency. Actions must match words. Experts. Prop president. Border porosity. Weak policies. Worsening insecurity. Investigation reveals. This Nigeria. Bandits strike again. Seize 24 in fresh Niger raid. Attackers abduct pregnant woman, others in farmland. Senate order sweeping probe of Safe School Initiative, and IGP recalls 11,566 officers from VIP duties. The Daily Times is next. Insecurity. Reps launch probe into non-functioning $460 million CCTV project. And next is Nigeria News Direct. IGP withdraws 11,566 VIP escorts from frontline duty as Tinubu's directive triggers nationwide redeployment. Last but not least, Super Eagles matches. Olaino threatens to quit. Player deeply hurt over injury abandonment. I'll be doing this with Etoma, Ria, and indeed myself. Etoma, let me start off with you. If you look at the Nation newspaper, as well as the Blueprint newspaper, talking about the relationship, starting of relationship with the U.S., that's about Nigeria-U.S. relationship, now joint working group to hold security talks. So we have about 5 of them, I think 5, that the president had inaugurated to work in close relations with the United States of America. But one thing there for me is that we should be with the upper hand at the negotiating table, because this is our country and we should not allow the U.S. to lord anything over us.
Well, the people that are there, we had a team that traveled to America, and Nuhu Ribadu was head of that team, and they had preliminary talks. And I think this one that is going to happen now is an offshoot of that one. So they have the details of this thing. So whether Nigeria will be having the upper hand or the lower hand, what we need is that at the end of these talks, we see changes happening. Well, we hear of all these abductions and so on and so on. Now there's a little bit of an improvement, which we'll talk about later. Should I call it improvement, unfortunately, which we're going to talk about later. The amazing thing for me is from we will invade Nigeria, we will go into Nigeria, guns blazing, and so on and so forth. And now it is, we are collaborating. It is a collaboration that we all spoke about the first time we heard about this thing. Look, instead of threatening Nigeria and threatening to step into a sovereign nation, why don't you collaborate with Nigeria? And I'm so happy that we are now having the collaboration we were looking for. And in the process of the collaboration, let's stop having conferences and start having action. Ria,
they say that, according to, let me play on his word, collaboration is a language of the civilized, while competition and threats is a language of barbarism and that of the jungle, which
Ibrahim,
the US had actually done in the first
place. Whether we say upper hand or lower hand, whatever will help to curb out the insecurity in Nigeria is what exactly we need. Because at this point, waking up to the stories that we see is not the best. First of all, it's draining your mental health as a Nigerian. You are sick of it. You are thinking about the families that are going through it. We just read in the papers, we were going to talk about that more, attacks have been made. I'm happy that we're going to have these conversations, but I'm also tired of hearing we are going to. I just want to start seeing action. I want to see that we have done. Yes, from the beginning we said it's very important to work with the US, as opposed to the threats that they were sending. Let's work together. You want to help us. What can you do in terms of intelligence? What are the things that can be done to make sure we get this back bandits, and finally stop the insecurity. On the lips of every Nigerian now is, let's have peace and tranquility. Let's not wake up every morning and hear that more people have been taken. So I agree with this collaboration, but what I'm saying is that I want to get to a point that I'm hearing that we have done, not we will do.
I'm actually skeptical about the relationship the U.S. is actually willing to start, because one thing is, if you have read his book, The Confession of an Economic Hitman, by John Perkins, talked about how the U.S. will always create trouble in other countries. In some countries, they are very much interested in when it comes to oil, etc. He was in the CIA. He was an economic hitman, and then he revealed how they would, if a country is not willing to do business with them, they create a problem in that country.
Ibrahim.
They kill the president to that extent. So, the book is there.
Ibrahim, I get you, but people are dying. We need to fix the insecurity in Nigeria.
You said what?
I said people are dying. We need to fix the insecurity in Nigeria.
Certainly. So the problem there is, what I'm saying is, whatever it is that we are doing with the U.S. and indeed the international community, we should negotiate, with the position of knowledge that we know what is going on. It's our country, and you can't be more, you can't love our country more than our own self, looking at what.
And that's why we're speaking on collaboration. We are working together. No one is working above or below anyone.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the Leadership Friday. Lawyers, security experts back Tinubu's emergency declaration. There must be more clarity, that's according to experts. Action necessary to curb further spread. And then similar headline on Weekend Hope says, security emergency. Actions must match words. Experts prop president. Border porosity, weak policies, worsening insecurity, that's according to investigation. Ransom dues embolden criminals as trust in government plummets. So one of the questions I always ask, if you look at the guns used by these terrorists, you do not find that, some of these guns, with our Nigerian soldiers, it's like a DSS, like an advanced guns, ammunition, not made by Nigeria, not made within Nigeria, but made by some of these countries as well.
Oh, yes.
So how did they get them?
See, a gun is a gun, all right? Some are more powerful, some have a longer range, some are more deadly, but at the end of the day, a gun is a gun. A sovereign nation, ordinarily, you would expect, will have the better guns. But that is not the case in what we are seeing right now. I was listening to the confession of a soldier, one of those soldiers that was imprisoned for mutiny. I was listening to his confession yesterday, and he was talking about the sophistication of the guns that these guys had. If that is the case, it is so clear that they are sponsored. And they are not sponsored by roadside rich men. They are sponsored by bourgeois. Very serious money is being sunk into this. And you and I know that for you to put money into anything is because you expect some kind of profit. So what is the profit somebody is gaining by sponsoring bloodshed? And so on. Now, we are talking about, the paper is talking about weak policies and all those things that happen. The one that caught me is paying of ransom. If individuals pay ransom, you will understand it's an emotional decision. But when an entity like a government pays ransom,
and I'm just going to pick it from this ransom issue because, Etoma, oftentimes I've said it. I don't know if people will argue with me or not agree with me, but I do not understand that paying of ransom, because once you pay one, you will keep paying. Once you pay one, you make these people stronger. You make them now feel that, okay, we can tell you anything and you do it. So I do not agree with that ransom paying, and that's why I was happy when they said the KB girls were freed without ransom. It made me so happy, because I feel like if we continue giving these people this money, we give them authority over us. We empower them to come back and use it against us. When we talk about our borders are being porous, we see it oftentimes. I've been saying it that we need to be proactive and not reactive, because most times it seems like we're waiting for something to happen before we deploy. You also read something there that said it's time for action. I feel like we've been saying we will do. I like what the president is doing, but we need to see it take place. I want to sit on the table and say, this has happened. We have gotten some bandits. They are arrested. We cannot keep saying we will. When lives are being taken every day.
Gains are being recorded. Some of them have been tried and are sentenced.
But yes,
right?
Ibrahim, we get the gains, but even with those gains, we still wake up to more stories.
Yeah, it's because we talk about, not we now here, I mean, the media often highlight, and people are largely interested in the bad news. When good news happens, look at the uproar when the children were kidnapped.
Yeah.
And then the church members, some of them, returned. We did not greet it with the same energy that we
Ibrahim,
did when it happened.
we did, but the problem is that people are still thinking about the ones that are in captive. So it's difficult to start celebrating the ones that are freed when other people are still going through that. So we also need to be very sensitive and emotional when it comes to this.
Is it not reasonable that governors of different states should start thinking of, should we begin to fence our Nigerian nation? Like, or your state, fence your own borders. Ogun State, fence your borders. It won't be the federal government fencing all the borders, so that this will probably or make development reach all the, if not the border, but the fringes of the border, so that we develop the country from border to the middle, and from the middle to to the center.
Are we talking about the kind of fence that Donald Trump was
as long as it will deter intrusion?
See, talking about borders, it is just the seriousness of government, because Nigerian borders are not as large as the United States borders, for example. And their borders are well manned.
At least back in the day, all these imperial majesties, like the Benin Wall, it was more like a border. They fenced themselves. All in ancient times, they used to fence their territory.
Right now, building those walls are not feasible. We have to just have a responsible and well-planned security system that will keep everybody safe. See, we have drones. We have technology working for us. Deploy technology. We don't need physical walls. Physical walls have a way of making you feel that I am in prison. It's claustrophobic to an extent. Let us deploy the technology that we have at our disposal. The ones we do not have, let's buy them. We're a country. When you're serious about something, it shows, it works.
That's right. Let's move on.
And we need to give all of that energy to make sure that our borders are not as porous as they are.
Absolutely. Now, this Nigeria says, bandits strike again, sees 24 in fresh Niger raid. Attackers abduct pregnant woman, others in farmland. Senate orders sweeping probe of Safe School Initiative. If you look at that, so the 24 are kidnapped in Niger State. Niger State had been under a series of attacks. These people went to the farmlands to harvest rice, to help us, feed. I mean, they are playing their role in feeding the nation. They also went into a room where they saw a blind man, and they requested for the phone. And the man said the phone didn't belong to me. It actually belongs to one of the neighbors. They had to sever their hands. And
Ibrahim, that's why when you spoke about the fact that maybe people are not really talking about or celebrating the girls that have returned home, I can understand, because you celebrate them and you wake up and you hear this kind of drastic thing has happened to even a blind man. We speak about food security. How do we get food to eat if our farmers are scared to go to the farms? Now, a lot of farmers don't even want to go and farm because they do not know what they will see there. That's why we keep talking about state policing, our borders. How are we making sure that Nigerians are safe in the rural areas? Because even let's leave rural areas aside. I tell you, I had something happen in Abuja. The more we keep quiet about this, the more it keeps spreading from state to state. And I feel like this is the time we need to stamp our foot on the ground and fight. We hear a pregnant woman. Why are you taking a pregnant woman? What do you want to do with the pregnant woman? How can you be so insensitive to a blind man that cannot see? And then when we speak about the fact that we should give them a death penalty, people are arguing why. Why would somebody be this inhuman to another human and expect to be treated nicely?
That's right.
Well, taking a pregnant woman is like buying one and get one free. It is barbaric. It is so sad. Yesterday I was talking about the National Assembly, doing their beat very fast, that maybe by this weekend, this is the time. It's like Nigeria is at war, and that is why it's also necessary that the parameters for this state of emergency be made known to everybody. What are we putting right up there in our list of priorities because of this emergency? The presidency should come out with statements like that for this period, these are the things we are going to really focus on. These are the things we're going to do this. And the National Assembly should see Nigeria in like we are in a state of war where legislation is done very fast. Everything is expedited. We need to start curbing these things because these guys are showing us that there are
And you know,
yes, they can do anything they want to do, and nothing will happen to them.
And Etoma, when we speak about this, I feel like it should be the #1 issue, because security has to be #1.
That's right.
It's the foundation of everything. If your country is not secure, how do you want to grow your country?
Guys.
How do you want to even eat, sleep?
Let's move on to the Daily Times. Insecurity, reps launch probe into non-functioning $460 million CCTV project. This CCTV project was actually done in 2010 by the China Exim Bank in collaboration with Nigeria, where they're supposed to install CCTV cameras. This is not the first time they'll be doing the probe. Senate has done the probe. Reps will be doing this probe. Maybe this is the 4th or 5th time. They did it within 2011 to 2015, and then 2016 again to 2019, and now they are restarting it. There was another one. The court actually ruled in sometime in May 2023 that the federal government should look into the details of the expenditures that went into these CCTV cameras, and that's why we're having insecurity in the FCT. Why is it that we secured the loan? We are paying back this loan. Why is it that we secured the loan and we did not do the project? That is why some people who have been given this contract who have been given this contract, they should be treated as terrorists. No, that's the truth.
The truth about it is that when a government gives you a contract and you do not fulfill your end of the contract, it's a criminal offense. So why has this thing persisted for more than 10 years? There is a failure of the system involved in this thing. A lot of corruption has happened, and that is why it is so difficult for something that should have taken 2-3 months to handle. It's taken so much time, 10 years. And it's the same thing with this insecurity we're talking about. It's over 15 years and we're still talking about insecurity because people are culpable. People in positions of authority are culpable. Yeah. I hope and pray that this state of emergency that has been announced on security is going to take care of all these things. And in the process of implementing it, let us be patriotic. Right. Let us see that we are saving Nigeria, not our pockets.
Ibrahim, 460 million naira is not small money. It's not joke.
$1 million.
$1 million. It's not joke. And that's why oftentimes we speak about accountability. We say the citizens have lost faith. Why have they lost faith? These are the things that happens that just make them say, you know what is the government really doing? Now, why do we need the CCTV? Let's talk about the importance of that. If we have CCTV, do you know how we'll be able to even see some of these things that are happening? So this is something that is very important that will help us to secure Nigeria. Now tell me, why didn't they happen? These are things that you just get so emotional and worried about. Like, who are the people? Who are the perpetrators? Why would you know that this thing is very important for a country and you do not do it? Look at the amount of money, not even in naira, in dollars.
One of the persons at the time was former Commissioner of Police Affairs. Was also indicted in this.
And Ibrahim, what has been done to him? We've been going, Ibrahim, like you said, 4 or 5 years we've been talking about this. Up to now, some places in Abuja don't have CCTV. And at the end of the day, we are worried. You say the citizens are not being patriotic at Toma, but at the end of the day, how do we want them to really be patriotic?
It's a call for patriotism.
If you look at Nigeria News Direct, it's saying IGP withdraws 11,566 VIP escorts from frontline duty as Tinubu's directive triggers nationwide redeployment. Analysts debate impact on VIP security. We've actually talked about this issue several times. And then the police need more trainings, and then they should also be ready to serve, because by the time they start posting them to villages that have no police, then they might be feeling, I need to lobby my way back to the
And one thing I'm happy, Ibrahim, quickly, is just the fact that these VIPs right now, they do not have as much police officers as they used to, because now we have more people in the force. So that's something I feel like
let them protect us, we protect them.
To protect
we protect them. Let's move on to the last paper, which is Sport and Life, saying Super Eagles matches, Olaina threatens to quit. Player deeply hurts over injury abandonment. This is someone, I think he's a Fulham player who now came to help as a patriot. He actually played in this last matches, and then he got injury and he was abandoned by the NFF. He got pissed and he said, listen, I'm going to drop patriotism. I'm still a Nigerian, but I'm not going to play for Nigeria because I was abandoned after having this injury. What sort of... I do not know.
This is leaving a bitter taste in my mouth. It's the same irresponsibility I'm talking about, and it's the same lack of patriotism
in
that
sport,
I'm talking about.
In health, in education,
in every sector. The corruption level is... We we do not see human beings. We see figures.
Ibrahim,
and
quickly,
it's so disheartening.
when we talk about the NFA, you want your people to play well. You want them to love Nigeria and do well. Sometimes we complain that these players are not playing with their whole heart. Somebody is sick, you didn't take care of the person. How do you expect that person to give you his all?
In the line of duty.
That, for me, that's just it.
And it's a requirement.
We need to do better.
Right.
We need to do better.
Well, that's about it for the newspapers up for review. Still ahead on TVC Breakfast. After the break, we'll delve into another discussion on Nigerian media's impact on disability inclusive development. Stay with us. We'll be right back.